I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Continuing with the topic of rhythm, on page 16 of the Discovering Music Theory Grade 1, we're now going to look at rests. We need to think about silence just as much as we need sound. I think it was perhaps Olivier Messiaen who said that it was the silence that was more important than music. I think that was perhaps an exaggeration, but the point remains, we need some silence as well to frame the music. And so we have these symbols here to show exactly how long the silence should last. We need to be just precise with the maths for rests as we do for notes. And so we have here a semi-breve rest which is worth 4 beats, which could perhaps be easily confused with this minim rest which is 2 beats. But if you just think about it for a moment, the way I remember it is, you can see the 4-beat rest hangs off the 4th line. So think 4, 4th line. The minim rest, which is just 2 beats, just sits in the middle for a couple of beats. That's just the way I remember it. We have the crotchet rest, which is worth 1 beat of silence. And it's quite tricky to draw. I do this by doing kind of a little Z and hooking a C at the bottom, kind of that will do. The old-fashioned way of writing a 1-beat note is this, like a backwards number 7. And you might see some old music with that written on it. However, nobody uses that now. Because I think perhaps it's too easily confused with this quaver rest, this half a beat rest. You can see it's just the other way round. So nobody uses that. But if you see it in a piece of really old music, you might just wonder what that is. So we just use this symbol now as a rule. And then the quaver rest and the semiquaver rest follow the same principle as the notes do. How a quaver note has just 1 tail, and a semiquaver note has 2 tails, so also the rest now has an extra arm, as it were. You perhaps don't need to worry too much about the little blobs, and we don't have italicised pencils, and I certainly don't recommend you use italicised ink pens, so don't worry about all these extra bits. That's just because there's a super fancy font on the computer that's printed this. We can just do you could do a little blob if you like, but don't worry too much about it, especially on the semiquaver rest where you're perhaps running out of space if the blobs start getting in the way. So just a little bit of revision and find some ways to remember these rests which could be confusing, and then you can perhaps test yourself by completing this chart, naming the notes going down in order. So use this to help you to get the names in order, and then you're going to need to remember what the notes are like and what the rests are like, and then get the maths in place. Maybe have a little go of this on your own first of all. If you get it wrong, that's okay. It's just much more helpful to sort of scratch your brain a little bit and really try. If you're just copying all the time, you'll just only passively learn it and you'll soon forget it. It's much better to learn by your mistakes. So work in pencil, and you can always erase if you get something wrong, but you will learn it much more thoroughly that way. So I'm hoping that you've had a go of this. And so now let's complete this chart together just to check over your answers. So we're going to go down in order from longest to shortest. So we've got the semi-breve, whether it's the note or the rest, Then we're going to come down to the minim. Then we've got the crotchet, spelling with a T in the middle. We've got quaver given to us already, and then we've got, after quaver, we've got semiquaver, all one word. So let's go down in the notes. So if you remember the semi-breve, and if you're not sure, you can either pop back and revise from a previous section of the book, or by all means do refer to my PDF, which is available on my website. It's just there for you to download. So a semi-breve, remember it's not a big round Mickey Mouse here, it's kind of a little bit flat, sort of oval. The minim is a similar sort of thing. In fact, I tend to write minims and crotchet notes. The blob's a little bit oblique rather than just flat. So the minim is like a semi-breve but with a stem. The crotchet, and if you notice I don't draw a circle as it were and colour it in. I start and sort of work outwards. Then we could pop the stem on separately so it doesn't go wandering off. Do it in 2 separate movements and stem top to bottom, just to keep your manuscript neat and tidy. Then we have a quaver, which starts off looking like a crotchet, but then we have a little tail. And then the semiquaver has 2 tails. So now here comes the new information. So if you remember, a semi-breve note is 4 beats and the rest hangs off the 4th line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, next from the top, and it's just a little box. Carefully it doesn't get too chunky. It's really, really important that you have a very, very sharp pencil. That's why I always use a mechanical pencil, just so it stays sharp. The minim rest is the similar shape, but now it just sits on the middle line, just sits down for a couple of beats as it were. The crotchet rest, as I said, they've drawn this for you, but if you want to just have a little practice, I do a sort of a Z, an angled Z with a C at the bottom. Maybe just have a little practice of that whilst you've got the opportunity. The quaver is kind of a number 7 with a little blob, and it's sort of positioned in the centre of the stave, so is the crotchet rest. Don't have them wandering too far up or down. And then the semiquaver just has an extra arm on. There we go. And you can see how the maths keeps dividing down and halving. So we've gone from a 4 beat to a 2 beat to a 1 beat to a half to a quarter. You can see how we're just halving down each time. And then let's have a little look at exercise 6. And so we've got to sort of work out if each bar is correctly full, and we've got to tick or cross to show which is correct, which is incorrect, counting up the combinations of rests and notes now. Now, this is where, if maths is your strong point and you're happy to keep working in fractions, you'll just sort of charge ahead and that will be fine. If, like me, you find doing fractions a little bit tricky, I always diagram it out. And so we know that a 1 beat note divides into 2 halves or 4 quarters. And so here we have a quarter of a beat rest because we've got the semiquaver rest. And then we've got a half of a beat note. So at the moment here, that is only 3/4 of a beat. A half plus a half is 1. There's 1, there's 1. We've only actually got 3 3/4 beats, because that should really be a quaver rest, not a semiquaver rest. So that is incorrect. Let's have a look at this one. So we have 1 beat here. That's a crotchet beat rest, that's a 1 beat. And then we know that 4 quarters makes a whole, so that's a beat. And there's 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's correct. Let's have a look at this one. So we know that half plus a half is 1. Here we have a half a beat rest and a half a beat note. So that is correct. Unlike that one, this one is a full beat, that's correct. There's a beat. There's a beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 complete beats. That's correct. Now let's look at this. But at first glance, you think, oh yeah, this is right because we've got a 2 beat, and you think, oh, that must be a 2 beat rest. It's not. Remember, the 4 beat rest hangs down, and in this where there's no pitch, so we've not got the 5 lines, it's just showing us the rest is hanging down, not sitting on the line. And so that's showing us it's a 4 beat rest. And so we'd have 6 beats in that bar if we use that rest. That's incorrect. What rest it should be is that one. And so that's incorrect. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee. And for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.